It sometimes feels as though Star Citizen will forever remain a mystery, and that in many ways is somewhat of a paradox. After all, the game is one that its community consistently cites as being in open development, with clear insight as to what is going on at any one moment. Conversely, no one really knows when the game will get its full release, and to an extent the far future plans of the game are also far less clear than the current plans. Now, I'm not saying this is a bad thing, it's just that it lends to a sense of mystery, of, well, the unknowable about the game, and this is likely one of the aspects that contributes towards some of the controversy that surrounds the game. But I'm not here to talk about any of that. Instead, I want to give a few thoughts on my recent look at the latest update on the live servers, which of course is version 3.7.1 of Star Citizen. The highlights with this update are the new cave systems which have been added to the moons and one of the planets within the Stanton system, along with the ability to mine within those caves. New investigation missions have also been added, and of course the update comes with a number of other things, including new ships, systems and various other mechanics. Oh, and not to mention the new player inventory system and the ability to share missions. For full details of what's in 3.7, do take a look at the links in the video description. Now, for those of you who joined me on my recent live stream, you'll likely know how my play session went, but I wanted to sum that up and give my impressions here in a short video. So, in general, the stability of Star Citizen does seem to be improving. The game did crash for me to desktop around 3 times in the 4-hour play session, although some viewers in chat assured me that it's fairly rare for Star Citizen to crash like that nowadays. Performance was also a bit harder to judge, as I'm now using a new graphics card, an RTX 2080 Super. As you can see on the screen, the frame rates were certainly reasonable in many areas, although the city of Levski suffered very poorly. And this really isn't due to my gaming system, but down to the game itself, something that may eventually be at least partially resolved with further optimizations and eventually the highly awaited server-side object container system, although when that is set to arrive is entirely unclear at this point. All that said then, I found the game to be entirely playable. The cave systems are a real treat. They feel very real and very natural, and the atmosphere within the cave systems is entirely believable, helped immensely by the great soundscape found within them. Now, the caves are extremely dark, with lots of narrow passageways, and using a torch to find your way through the caves is essential. And whilst the torch isn't exceptionally bright, this does go a long way towards ensuring a sense of foreboding within the caves. To be clear, the threats within the caves are not what many games players might expect. There's no monsters or aliens dwelling within the recesses, and I really don't have a problem with this. After all, anyone who ever has spent time within a real cave system will know that, generally speaking, caves don't harbour either monsters or aliens. The bigger threats here then, as with real life, are getting lost or falling. And of course there's also the ever-present threat of hostile players, which may also be exploring the cave or simply waiting on an unlucky spelunker. It's recommended to head into the caves armed then, although I went with nothing but the standard issue pistol, simply because I lacked the money to purchase both weapons and the new rucksack. Unfortunately, the biggest trouble I ran into was just getting lost, which I'm prone to do in these types of places. Now, the mining was pretty interesting. Finding the ore doesn't require game skills or any scanning mechanics. It's simply a case of knowing what you're looking for. Find the right type of rock and you're good to go. The mining mechanics themselves felt a little flat, to be honest, but in the end, what can you really add to mining? It's a common issue across all games that feature mining, and there is risk here though, as it's entirely possible to explode if you overheat or overcharge the mining tool. The mining tool itself came in 2 parts, the multi-tool utility and the related mining attachment, and I actually spent a fair amount of time heading out to Levski to pick up the tool, which is also available at Area 18 as well as Lawville. And this really brings me on to my biggest issue with playing Star Citizen, and that of course is travel times. Now, I have mentioned this before, so I won't labour the issue here, but quantum travel in Star Citizen takes too long, just as Supercruise in Elite Dangerous is far too slow. Personally, I'm not one of those people who feel that travel times conveys a sense of scale. Really, honestly, scale conveys scale. But everyone has their own thoughts on this, and people like what they like. In short, I spent significant time heading out to the various areas to collect the necessary equipment. But as you can see here, I certainly did use one of the slower quantum travel ships, which without doubt made the journey longer than it needed to be. But my counter to that point is that not everyone will have access to the high-speed ships. It's also worth mentioning that there are also access to ships via in-game rental systems, and ships can be rented for set periods of time, such as 1 day, 3 days or 30 days. During the rental period of your access to the ship is more or less similar, or the same actually, as if you physically owned it, and it includes insurance as well as the ability to modify the ship. Renting costs in-game money which can be obtained through missions or selling commodities such as the ore I mined in the cave system. And regarding the missions, currently there's still only a relatively small selection of mission types. However, some people do recommend taking on the player bounty missions, although as most of you who know me will be well aware, PvP really isn't my thing in general, with few rare exceptions such as Infinity Battlescape, which is easily the best space combat PvP out there at the moment. All in all then, version 3.7 of Star Citizen is well worth looking at if you already have access to the game. And if you don't, this week is a free flight week, which means you can get free access to the game. And if you do want to take a look at this, you can find out more information in the link through the video description. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.